Ah, were you guided here by kindly Mikola? I am Leda. And like you, I was guided by faith along his honorable path. Touch the withered arm, and you too will be transported to the realm of shadow where Mikola the Kind now dwells. My compatriots are there already. Like us, they have heard kindly Mikola's call. If you can find them, they are certain to lend you aid. Come now, touch the withered arm, and travel to the realm of shadow. I will not be far behind. May we meet again.
Hello, and welcome back to Elden Ring. As you might be able to tell, this is part 1 of our magic run as we head through the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. Now, when I got on this character, because I haven't gotten on this character in forever, because I did them quite a long time ago, and I am so glad that I wasn't prepared. Because I was at the beginning of the area. Like, Moog wasn't dead. I didn't even have the set of grace for Moog. And it is so good that I was not prepared. Because my inventory was a mess. Everything was a mess. I had a completely unupgraded glintstone staff. How I got through the entire game with an unupgraded staff, no idea. But I did. And I don't know, past me was completely insane. I don't know what they were doing. But unupgraded staff, they were using a flail unupgraded. For some reason, I didn't even change this, but I have stamp sweep on a cold sacrificial axe. Don't know why. I don't know what past me was thinking. And I'm gonna be honest, past me, a little scary. Because they've made so many decisions where I get on a character that I haven't been on in forever and I go, what were you thinking? And it's not even like understandable rookie mistakes. It's stuff like, again, I went through the entire game. I even beat Elden Beast. I have the Elden Remembrance with a completely unupgraded staff. And before I started recording, I equipped this one and upgraded it. I don't have it, but I had the Astrologer staff plus 3. And another staff that had no upgrade. And the one with no upgrade is the one that I had equipped. So I don't know if I was just being stupid or if I was new. I don't think I was new when I made this character. I don't think I was. So I don't know if that was just me, like, forgetting to upgrade. Because it was a staff and not a normal weapon. Or what was going on there, but decisions were made. And I am so glad that I was able to clear that up before hitting record, because oh boy. And I don't know if you can tell, but I am playing on mouse and keyboard, which lets you spin really fast. Not a 2-shot. Tragic. What's the point of magic glint blade if it's not gonna 2-shot? Also, I have magic glint blade on. I don't know why, but it's something that I have on. Again, Well, it's not nearly as questionable as some of the other decisions I made because it's very similar to Great Glintstone Shard, but they both have their niche. Like, Great Glintstone Shard is better for normal enemies like soldiers and dogs and whatnot, whereas Magic Glintblade is better for enemies that just like roll every single time you press the button. So good for them. Or like good against them. And I know there's a guy here somewhere, but I don't know where. I really should have prepared for this, because I prepared as in like mentally and just I should have gotten things ready, but I did not. Oh, there he is. Yeah, see? Every time you press the button, they roll. But because this has a delay, you can fire it off. And you really want it to be directly in front of them or directly behind them. Don't know how you knew to dodge that one, but alright. I'm not going to use that weapon, and we can just come back with more upgrades, so we'll be fine. We don't need to kill him. We can just move forward. But yeah, I thought about using mouse and keyboard because, as I said in my previous run, my room is like 8 kajillion degrees at all times. And for some reason that just destroys my controllers. But for some even stranger reason, it doesn't mess with my keyboard or my mouse at all. No idea why. But I figured might be good to give mouse and keyboard a try, because I can actually use it and not have the heat of my room destroy it. And I played a bit with mouse and keyboard before recording, and I'm very glad I did, because there's a surprisingly high learning curve for mouse and keyboard on these games. Like, just want to make sure there's not a dog chasing us. But for example, the pouch with these things, for example, I use a PlayStation controller, so the button would be X. I mean, technically it's supposed to be triangle, but I swapped X and triangle so that way the jump button can be up, because the up button makes you go up, and then X, which is the lower button, could be to pick items up, because that's what it is in all the other games. And so that just helped me adjust to Elden Ring when I was new. And it feels more natural to me. And if you're someone who plays... Rude. But if you're someone who plays Elden Ring on a controller, especially if you're going from other FromSoft games, like this isn't your first, I would highly suggest swapping the top and bottom buttons. But you hold triangle, X, whatever your button is, and if you look in the bottom left, you go from your weapons and your spells and your quick items over to this. And this is the pouch, which is these. And while holding that button, you press up on the D-pad right on the D-pad, left on the D-pad, or down on the D-pad. And that, pretty simple, pretty straightforward, makes sense. Not too difficult to wrap your mind around. However, on mouse and keyboard, it's a little different. Like, yeah, you have to hold the interact button, which on mouse and keyboard is E. But here, you can see all 4 things on the pouch, but you can only interact with 2 of them. I have it on scroll wheel. I don't know if scroll wheel is the default thing or if I changed it. But at least for me, it's scroll wheel, and scroll wheel up does the right action, and scroll wheel down does the bottom action. So there are 4 things in your pouch, but I'm only allowed to use 2 of them. Again, offhand, I don't know if that's the default settings or if I changed them, but I typically don't mess with scroll wheel outside of, for FPS games, I usually have up as melee and down as reload. And then here I have up as swapping the right hand weapon and down as swapping the key items. And so maybe that messed with the pouch. Maybe. Or it could be default. Offhand, I don't know. I forgot that he shoots at you. Like, I full-on completely forgot that he has a crossbow because he doesn't drop it. Although, that's the repeating crossbow. And you get that somewhere else. How? Sir, that's so rude. And I've actually tried the repeating crossbow on another character. The repeat is actually the unique skill. So it doesn't shoot that normally. It might have been the initial run. I think it may have been the initial run where I tried that out. Where if you shoot normally, you fire 1 bolt, but then the skill has you shoot 12. And that's pretty good. Because it doesn't always blow all of your bolts, because you can only hold 99 at a time. And then you can hold, like, you can equip up to 2 different types of bolts. So you can have a total of 198, but that's on 2 different bolts. Yeah, they won't look at us. We'll be fine. But so if you want to use it as a normal crossbow shooting 1 bolt, you can do that. Or if you're going up against a boss or you're doing PvP, then you can whip out 12 bolts all at once for a quick burst of damage. And it works very well. At least on paper. I haven't used it much in practice. Though I upgraded it plus like 7 or 8, I think, and used it through part of one area. And it performed fine. Nothing too special. It went through a lot of bolts. But besides that, it performed fine. And here, something that I'm going to do on this character is go through all of these. Because you actually get something if you go through all of these before a certain point. So I'm going to do that this time. I know what you get, but you might not, so I'm going to do that this time to show it off.
Ah, Lady Leda spoke of you. You're that tarnished. Guided here by kindly Mikola. Weren't we all? I am Freya. I once fought alongside General Radahn. In battle, you can be sure I'll hold my own. Oh, another thing. Did you speak to our dour little friend? If you've yet to do so, have him give you a map of the Cross's whereabouts. You'll find more of them dotted about these lands. They are Mikola the Kind's footprints. If you've yet to do so, assuming you...
Yeah, something else I've noticed is that when you're talking, if you have subtitles on, you can't look around while on mouse and keyboard. Same thing with sitting here, you can't look around while on mouse and keyboard. And that's part of why I prefer controller typically. And if you watched my previous run, the dexterity run, that's why, like, halfway through, I think, might have been most of the way through, I randomly just turned subtitles off, at least seemingly randomly. It's actually because that was me trying out mouse and keyboard on a different character, and the not being able to look around while talking to NPCs kind of bothered me a bit. So that's why I turned it off, turning it back on here, so that way you can read along with the dialogue if you want to.
Fie, another. Treading the heels of Mikola. Then, as that woman would surely say, we are in our purposes well aligned. But understand, your kind are not forgiven. The Erdtree is my people's enemy. By Marika long betrayed, set aflame. I believe Mikola's apologies when he says our delivery will come, but never will I see your kind as worthy. And yet my oath I cannot overlook. If Mikola it is whom you would seek, then comrade, allow me to give you this. These are the sites of the crosses I found. I urge you, follow after Mikola. As long as you abide by his footfalls, you will be no enemy to me. I urge you, follow after Mikola. As long as you abide by his footfalls, you will be no enemy to me.
You can also get special dialogue with him if you do a certain thing. And I will try to do that. It's something that I did once in New Game Plus, completely on accident. Didn't even know it was a thing. And it's something that I typically don't do because of how I go through the map. Like, where I choose to go and when. If you're curious, it has to do with Bellerot. And it's because I typically put Bellerot off for a decent bit. But I'm gonna go there relatively early in this run. Not right now, but relatively early. Also, if you don't know, Erdtree Blessings, or Erdtree Fragments, and Revered Spirit Ash are two items that you really, really want to get. And they will show up here. And they're very important. this boosts your damage and defense. Revered Spirit Ash boosts your Spirit Ash's health and health. I think it's damage and defense. I think it's damage and defense, and it also gives Torrent more health. So those are very important, and I will be going through and getting all of those. I haven't really been pointing them out, but I put more of a focus on pointing them out in the previous runs and in the next run, or the run after that, because I'm only going to do 1 to 2 more runs of the DLC before moving on. But in whatever the final run I do is, I will put more of a focus on showing where those are at. For now, Ansbach.
You must be the Tarnished. I am Ansbach. Formerly in service to Lord Moog, but now, like you, another soul guided by kindly Mikola. I'm hardly the steady hand I once was. My fighting days are far behind me, which is why I have chosen to dedicate myself to investigation, to discern tender Mikola's ultimate purpose. I'd rather not volunteer service to a new master unless I know that I can be of use. May I request a service of you? 6 crosses, identical to this one, have been discovered in these lands. They are akin to tender Mikola's footprints, or gravestones, which mark what he's left behind. If you discover any more crosses, be certain to tell me. I presume you, too, are keen to know just what kind Mikola is doing here.
Hello there. Together, we work. Together. For Mikola the Kind. Many things we have found.
So this is Moore. He is one of 2 merchants in the DLC.
Goodbye.
And he doesn't sell anything that I particularly care about. But he runs with the Forger Brood. They're the pest enemies in the base game. The like centipede-looking things. But in the DLC, they are friendly, and if you talk to them, they will give you cookbooks for items. And personal opinion, they're not good. Outside of one, there's one that I think is good, and I will definitely show where that is. So, Jula's Moonblade is very powerful. Highly, highly recommend. It's kind of unfair how good a Jula's Moonblade is, actually. We can take that off. So, here there's 3 or 4 things we want to hit. First, we had the moon spell on. But first is off here to the right. And you may notice that every time I kill an enemy, we get a blue slurp. As you can see here. And that blue slurp is because of Ancestral Spirit Horn and the Sacrificial Axe. Both of which give us FP back every time an enemy dies. Very good for magic builds of various sorts. This enemy with the pot has a Scadutree fragment. But yeah, the noise and like the visual can be a bit annoying to some people. rude. So incredibly rude. Anyways, the visual and the sound can be annoying to some people. I'm sorry if it's annoying to you. And it does take away from the immersion. That is absolutely true. We're just gonna... It's a bit of an improvised solution, but it's a solution, so we'll run with it. But that gets us the string seller's bell bearing to allow us to buy string. I think that I miss like one of those every run, the same one every run. But it's one that I don't really care about because it just has like a great bolt, like a magic great bolt, I believe. So don't care about missing that one, but I'll show off where the rest are at. I'm also going to show off all the spells that I know of. Like whenever we get a DLC spell, I'll show it off. I don't know if I know where all of them are, but I know that I know where most of them are. I might be missing like one. That is certainly possible. That was a grab attack that I've never seen before. And I don't want to see it again because it really hurt. I mean, in fairness, I have 3 Erdtree blessings, and I could put another 10 points into the health stat, but it still hurt. And I would like to not hurt. So, would rather not deal with that anymore. But since this is an intelligence character, I want to put a bit more of a focus on showing where good things are. And maybe not explaining, because I did a lot of explaining in the second run. But if I feel like something needs to be explained, I will. Over there is where the Grace is, just above our head there. And so if we head east, slightly southeast from the Grace, you can get a Revered Spirit Ash. And if you really want all the cookbooks, then heading up here... Yes, heading up here, there's one of these guys, one of the Forager Brood. As I said, they are friendly. This one gives you a thing for a fire consumable. One that makes you take a less fire damage for a certain amount of time. And then that one gets you Hefty Lightning Pot. And the DLC added red lightning, which is slightly different from normal lightning. And I actually tested it. Not the hefty pots, but the normal lightning pot compared to the red lightning pot. And the main difference is that red lightning chains to other enemies, but red lightning also does slightly more damage. We're gonna ignore them, because no. Here, Blessed Blue Talisman and the Oathseeker Knight set along with Pata. Which Pata is a fist weapon with the range of a straight sword. And Blessed Blue Talisman slowly regenerates FP, so like Blessed Dew, but FP instead of HP. And this is a bit tragic, because when the DLC first came out, this restored 1 FP per second. But patch either 1.14 or 1.15 nerfed it, and they actually slashed its effect in half, so now it's 1 FP every 2 seconds. And so, kinda wish that I had done the... Kinda wish that I did the 2 magic runs first and then the 2 melee runs. Because if we had done the melee runs after, then the Blessed Blue Talisman nerf wouldn't be as big of a deal. But magic runs use a lot more FP. And therefore, the nerf is going to be a lot more consequential. Now, here's Savage the Lion's Claw gotten here on the map. This is pretty similar to normal Lion's Claw, but the first jump, where you do like the front flip and then slam down, that doesn't do as much damage, but then you have an option to do a second follow-up slam. And this, I'm assuming that Savage Lion's Claw, Revered Spirit Ash, but I'm assuming that they added Savage Lion's Claw because people complained about normal Lion's Claw missing a lot. And that is true. Normal Lion's Claw tends to miss quite a bit. Whereas Savage Lion's Claw, the first swing misses a lot, but the second one has far better accuracy. And then here you get Hefty Furnace Pot, which the giant furnace guy walking around, there are 2 of those that you can't take down normally, because normally you hack at their ankles until they fall down, then you get a critical hit that does a lot of damage. But there are 2, maybe 3, but I think just 2, where that doesn't work. And for those 2, you have to jump up, like use a Spirit Spring jump to get onto a higher plane, and then throw Hefty Furnace Pots down into their head. And that's how you get them. And yeah, we don't have the maps for them, but one is over here in Charo's Hidden Grave, and another one is up here past Bonnie Village. So if you're struggling to take them out, then that shack with the hefty furnace pots will help you out. Here, the painting we got in Artist Shack gets you this, the Serpent Crest Shield. It is a very normal medium shield. By far the most notable thing about it is that the description states Mesmer, son of America. And that's a way of telling you that Mesmer is the son of America before learning it. And also it has good fire defense compared to everything else. And pretty good guard boost for a medium shield. But that's really all there is to it. Besides that, it's fairly unremarkable. Here, Great Katana. New weapon class. Obviously, Great Katana. And it has the overhead stance, which is something you can only place on Great Katanas. But this is the only infusible Great Katana, meaning this Ash of War only goes with this weapon, and that's it. Which I find to be a wee bit strange, but it is what it is. And that's a dragon. It's a ghost flame dragon. Basically, think of it as a skeleton dragon. It's immune to things like bleed and frostbite, at least to my knowledge, but it's weak to holy, and if you can kill it, you can get an ancient somber stone. And that's pretty nice. But I would suggest not trying to fight it. We can... I'll come back here later when I have more Erdtree blessings. For now, we can make our way through the open world. I feel like that's a good plan for part 1. Because if you ignore all the caves and all the bosses and all the legacy dungeons, and you just thoroughly make your way through the open world, that is one of the best things you can do. Because it'll get you so many Erdtree blessings, so many revered Spirit Ash blessings, and it makes the DLC so much easier. Like, there's another fragment. I'm telling you. Like, it does kind of suck skipping so much right off the bat. But I'm telling you, it will make things so much easier. Just... I'd say, if you're going to do a first run, like just your initial run through the DLC, I would suggest going through however you want. But for like a second or third run, maybe a fourth run, I'd say third or fourth run, once you understand where all the Erdtree fragments are, once you understand generally where to go, then I would suggest skipping all the caves and the legacy dungeons and the whatnots, and just going through the open world, going through as much as you can, getting as many Skidoo Tree and Revered Spirit Ash blessings as you can. Because, well, this is my third recorded run. This is, I believe, my 5th or 6th, like, normal run. So, recorded and non-recorded. Fire Spark Perfume Bottle. Another new weapon class. But yeah, I would suggest going through, say, 2 or 3 times, normally doing whatever you want, and then go through just ignoring everything except for the blessings. And this is a very good cookbook. It gets you fire coils, which are pretty good. They're one of the very few consumable items that I enjoy using. This enemy up here uses them, and they do a lot of damage. So we're gonna not. We're not even gonna give him the opportunity for that. But there's a bridge there leading into Castellensis. If you go to the left of that, you can then go down. And if you make your way all the way down here, you'll find a little jump with an item. Spelldrake Talisman +3. So, for the talismans, there's Physical, Magic, Fire, Bolt, Holy, and Pearl Drake. So you have Physical, Magic, Fire, Lightning, Holy, which I don't have, and then non-physical, which is everything besides physical. And in the base game, there was a normal, a +1, and a +2 for everything. But the physical had this one, which is basically a +3. The DLC adds a +3 for all the other ones. And Spelldrake is the earliest one you can get. I'm gonna focus on these as well, because I don't really have these on this character. I mean, some of them, like, Fire is still at +1. I don't have a Holy one at all. So, yeah, I'm gonna focus on these and point out where they all are. From here... Hello. But you can head north and go through there, and there will be some enemies and then a catacomb. And the catacomb is pretty fun. It's got some secrets. I'm not gonna do it just yet, because again, I'm gonna focus on the open world right now. But it's a fun catacomb. Would suggest doing. Once you feel comfortable with the current difficulty that you're at. Which... feeling very comfortable with this difficulty. Swift Spear. Highly recommend. It's not that good, but it is very fun. And if you've watched my channel for a bit, you may know that those are the kinds of weapons that I really, really love. The ones that are good and fun, but not super popular. I like to shine a spotlight on those weapons. Now, all of these cross-looking things, like C with a T inside of it, they have some words, but they also have one, sometimes two Erdtree fragments. So, good to look for those wherever you can. And here's an NPC.
Oh, hello there. Are you the Tarnished? Lady Leda spoke of you. Another Tarnished. Guided here by Mikola the Kind. My name is Teolia. I too am Tarnished, and here on kindly Mikola's account. So, well, here's to new beginnings, I suppose. I'm sorry. But, well, I'm not much good at anything is all. I'm as weak as a kitten and thick as two planks. I've always been this way, since the very day I was born. I'm afraid the only thing I'm proficient in is poison. Sorry.
And he sells Deadly Poison Perfume Bottle, which is another perfume bottle, another one of the new weapon classes. This one, Dex and Arcane. And it's the only one that does physical damage, which I thought was kind of strange because there's 5 perfume bottles. This one does physical and does poison buildup. There's one that does magic damage and frost buildup. There's 2 that do fire damage. One has frenzy buildup and one does lightning damage. But there's none that do holy. And I thought that was a bit strange.
Just give me the word if you need any more poison.
Although holy is a bit oversaturated in this DLC, in my opinion. There are a lot of weapons that do holy damage. And I mean, this game is my favorite when it comes to faith builds by a long shot. But still would like some more variety. And there's some weapons where I don't think it fits that much. And another new NPC.
The pain. The pain. My arms, my legs, each lies a bloody ruin. The pain. The exquisite pain. Bale! Vile Bale! Oh, terror incarnate! There is life in me yet! I will soon feast upon your heart! Mark my words! You too shall know fear! The pain. The exquisite pain.
Okay. So we can move on. And just before we ran into him, I was going to say that pretty much all the NPCs you meet in the DLC were... I don't know how to describe it outside of charmed, but they were basically mind controlled through magic, through Miquella's Great Rune. And so they come from a lot of different groups. So like Freya is a red mane, Ansbach was from Lord Moog, Talia follows Saint Trina, the Horn Scent is from the Tower Folk. And it's all these different groups that would typically hate each other, but Miquella, using his charm, basically brainwashed them into working together.
Please, no more. I am sorry. I repent. Oh, come no closer. Oh, the horror. Please, savage me no further. Oh, oh, oh. Please, no more. Spare me your cruelty.
But Egon is not one of them. I don't know where Egon came from initially. Like, what his homeland or people are. But he's not with kindly Miquella. He's not with that whole group. He's kind of separated on his own in his own little self-contained storyline. That was rude. Yeah, as I said, animation readers. And so every time you swing, there's some enemies that'll roll, like every single time. And that's why some delayed spells like Magic Glint Blade have their use. Because you do the animation, they dodge, but the attack doesn't come out right away, and that can really mess with them. Although animation raiders, a bit more common in the base game. And we're not gonna do that just yet, partially because I like to stay around an hour, if not slightly below an hour, and partially because, as I said, I want to go through the open world first. And I know it would be here. So we're going to stop here for today, but just heading here for the next part. But I think that we made decent progress today. We started out, we talked to Letta, made it into the DLC. We ran through the Scorched Ruins, the Western Nameless Mausoleum. We met Freya, Horn Scent, Ansbach, Moor. We touched the abandoned alien village. We didn't go through it because there's not really anything there. But We continued on, we met Talia, we met Egon. We got a decent amount of these upgrade materials. Enough to get us to 4 Scadutree blessings and 3 revered Spirit Ash blessings, and they go up to 20 and 10 respectively. And we still have 1 Scadutree fragment left over. And 1 more and we'll get another blessing. And in this part, oh boy, that's quite a lot. But in this part, we've gotten the Black Steel Great Hammer, which is a guaranteed drop. We got a hefty Cracked Pot, the Blade of Mercy, the Great Sword and Armor Set of Solitude, the Backhand Blade, the String Seller's Bell Bearing, the Outer God Heirloom, which is like the other heirloom talismans, where it upgrades 1 stat by 5 points, this one being Arcane. It is the only one like that in the DLC. We got the ability to craft hefty lightning pots. We got the Blessed Blue Dew Talisman, although sadly it was nerfed in a patch. But we got the Oathseeker Knight set, the Pata, the Ash of War Savage Lion's Claw, the ability to craft hefty furnace pots, the Serpent Crest Shield, the Great Katana. I've used this on a non-recorded character. It's actually very good. We got the Fire Spark Perfume Bottle, the ability to craft fire coils, a Spelldrake Talisman +3 for the utmost amount of damage, magic damage negation. We got the Swift Spear. Again, not super powerful, but it's decent enough, and it's got a unique moveset, so highly recommend giving it a try. We also got the Deadly Poison Perfume Bottle, and an Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone. So, pretty good progress. I don't have Finger Snap equipped, which I usually do. Which is very strange, because I pretty much always have it equipped. But, oh well. Good progress. See you next time.